together the roots are. Weak, honey.
You're weak?
My arm is so weak.
Oh.
I told you that arm is so weak.
Well, here we are, and we're out at the squash garden, and unfortunately, we've had a share of problems with these squash. Seems like the zucchinis are probably growing pretty well, and they were growing well, I should say. Then they just stopped when it got really hot, and I guess looking on the internet, that's what happens in that time of the year. So I was thinking that maybe we should start planting some, so we went out to the seed store and found some plants for only $1 a piece. They're pretty bad shape, but I planted them last night. But I want to show you what we had to do after we found out about our squash plants. What happened? I'll show you this. They started cutting off everything. All the way up until where the flowers are, taking off all the leaves on every one of the plants, every one of the squash plants. This is all that's left of this one. And we just found that the wind broke one last night, and that's what's left of that. And they're laying over. Look at how bad that looks, huh? Boy, oh boy, this one too. Well, you remember what they look like, right? There's one here. That's all that's left of that one. This one's got a little yellow squash growing on it, so I'm not going to pull that one off. And you can see that this one is got a good sized squash, probably the best squash that I've had, yellow squash that I've had out here at all. So I don't know. So I'm going to keep watering these new plants. What I had to do is this. I found out on the internet about eggshells and vinegar. That's a pretty interesting little story in itself. And it was talked later by a guy who's a chemist. And what he did is he took the eggshells and he crushed them up really good. And that's exactly what I did. And I took all my eggshells and I put it on the bottom of a mason jar like this. And then probably came up to about right here with eggshells. So then I filled up the same amount with white vinegar and just let it go. And there was some kind of fusion going on in there. Everything started foaming up, the eggshells. Well, eggshells are nothing but calcium, right? So the vinegar was breaking down the calcium and turning it into a liquid form so that I could actually use it to get into the roots right off the bat. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I took what this was, which was that much, and it was foaming up, and it foamed up to about middle of the bottle here. And so I just took that, let it sit overnight, and this morning I put it into this big gallon, which you just saw Dory pouring it on that new planting. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pour the rest of it on the plants that we've had problems with. It looks like a nice little bee wants to join in on the party here. So what I'm going to be doing is taking this and just adding it to the big zucchini plants. So I just, a newer plant of it growing right next to it that I put in last night. I'll probably have to water these some more. I'm going to go crush up some more eggs and make some new calcium. This is the one Dory just planted, a yellow zucchini. This is the, that one, poor one, isn't it? Well, we're going to see if this concoction of eggshells and vinegar works. We'll see pretty soon what happens here. Well, my radishes and beets and turnips are growing pretty good. Maybe the beets aren't growing as good as I thought they would, but there's a few plants that are coming up. That means the other ones will come up soon. Those are the turnips on the right hand side. And then I have a great big container here of turnips too. So we'll see how these grow. I'll probably have to water those in a little while too. It's pretty hot out. And there's the garden. We're going to be thinning out some lettuce again today. Look at how tall that pepper plant got. Wow. That's that holy moly plant. Wow. And the tomato plant, look at that. Oh, it's got to be about 7 foot tall. Have a potato growing in here. Actually, it's a sweet potato that Mom got started on the windowsill in a little bit of water. Its roots were being formed, so I planted that. And then I cut up a couple of potatoes that were past their time and starting to rot, and they're planted in there along with this one and this one. So as soon as you start seeing a plant come up, that's when you start adding some more dirt to it. So that'll happen probably in the next week and a half, I think.